All right, you listeners, you're gonna hear the pre-show. I like to set intentions, and I'm here with Mel, Miss Badass Mel Robbins. Mel, let's set
That's
an
right. I
intention.
want to, let's do the pre-show here.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
do it. Yeah,
Yes.
why have I never
Okay.
done this? All right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, let's do it. So intention, do you want to set it? You want to set the intention? What are you
Do we,
feeling?
do we do the same one or do we each have one?
We can each have one. Let's do it that way.
I don't care.
Yeah.
This is your show. I'm just asking a question. Like, do we
Yeah.
set, is it like Grace? Is there only one at a table or is there multiple people? Or is this like toasting?
It's a toast.
It's a toast.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a toast. Yeah. I'll let you go first because you are our esteemed guest today.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my intention for this conversation is the exact same intention that I have for the High Five Habit book. And that is that it is a vehicle through which you get cracked open and reintroduced to the human being that's inside of you, that's been waiting for you to wake up and start supporting and celebrating that person. It's been waiting a long time. And so I'm going to entertain you. I'm going to make you laugh. You might cry, but for sure, you are going to tap back into something deep inside you that's powerful.
Dang, girl. I don't know that I have another intention. That was amazing. I just want to tell my amazing Youest listeners, get tissues, get some water. Remember, I always take notes. All the show notes will be there for you, and strap on your seatbelts, because I feel like the intention is to really have you get the extraordinary human being that you are. And to start seeing the way that the greater cosmos, divine universe, whatever you want to call it, is seeing you, being you, is you. And we have the same thing, the same intention. And I am so flipping excited. This is the best start to any of my interviews. I'm so glad we did this live. Amazing. Boom. All right. So you guys, you're in for such a super duper treat today. I want to tell you a little bit about Mel. I'm pretty sure you know Mel Robbins, but you know what? Just in case you weren't sure of all of her creds, I'm going to just give you a sense.
Do you have to go here?
Well, I'll do a quick review.
Tell me the thing that you like the most. Tell me the thing that you like the most.
About you?
Yes. Yeah. Like make it personal. What is the thing that you like the most?
First of all, I love your celebration and your honoring that we get one shot and we're 1 in 400 trillion. No, it's more than that. 400 trillion, I think it was, possibilities of being here. And it's time to wake the F up, and that we have the power to do that. And I love your tools and how to do that. And I love your heart and wanting to be of service. And I know that's come through in your books, the 5-second rule. We have the high five habit. You get a lot of fives. I was like, shoot, there were some fives going on. So I love what you're doing. I love your stand for humanity, to really be elevated. And I see it in mind, body, spirit, consciousness, the whole thing. And I'm just like, yep, I'm in.
That's beautiful. I need to get a copy of that recording, because my way of describing it is kind of lame. I literally go, here's my brand of personal development and enlightenment. Fuck up your life and then find a ladder to dig out of the hole, to get yourself out of the hole you just dug, Mel. No, I'm dead serious that I literally, I feel like my whole life has been that cartoon that played when we were kids. And I don't know if it was Looney Tunes or Daffy Duck or who it was that would wander into a construction zone sleepwalking. Right. And they would walk into a construction zone and step on a beam that then gets lifted up. And then the beam spins around and they are literally about to drop off and die to their death. And then whoop, another beam flies into place. And I honest to God, like sometimes I look in the mirror and I say to myself, Mel, why couldn't you have just studied this? Why does all your wisdom have to come from screwing up your own life? Like, did you have to make it this hard on yourself? And so kind of my mission is, if I can save you any of the headaches and heartaches that I put myself through, either unknowingly or on purpose,
Yeah.
that would be a life well lived.
Mm.
And I feel as though, I'm since I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist, although at this point I feel like I should have 15 PhDs. And if it's true that 10,000 hours makes you an expert at anything, you should ask me about anxiety, because I think I'm the world's leading expert based on those credentials. But I feel like I'm just figuring it out all the time. And I just love sharing what I'm learning. And I also love sharing what is happening almost in real time, because it makes me feel like I'm not alone, and it makes me feel like I'm not insane. Because there are times when I can't believe the kinds of negativity and the thought patterns that pop into my mind. And I know I'm not the only one.
This is part of what I love about you, is it's real, raw, like, talking about where you fucked up. And I actually, one of my first questions is like, maybe for all of us, because, it's funny you say it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Talk to us. Tell us where. I think the experiential learner, that's what came to mind as you were speaking. I'm like, all right.
Couldn't I just do Knowles? Like, why do I have to fuck up my life? Like, can't we just go to an experiential school like Knowles?
You're in the life school. You're just, well, and maybe it's just sharing. I mean, I know you've got some stories, like where heartache, heartbreak. I know a little bit about, you had some bourbon moments. Like, I don't know, start wherever you like, but I think it might be helpful to hear you actually have had some tough times, and that's how you've learned.
Well, it's like, if I were to tick all this stuff off, like, a lot of people look at the credentials and they're like, what? Wow. Okay. She must be a bitch. She's got a best-selling book and, 4 #1 audiobooks, and she speaks on all these stages. Like, it has been a rough road getting here. And I think that one of the reasons why people really respond to the way that I either tell stories from my life, or I have a knack. Like, I think my gift, honestly, is being able to take wildly complex information and distill it down into sticky, stupid sounding things that somebody could explain at a kitchen table, but encapsulated in these sticky, simple tools that I'm teaching to the world is profound science backed up by decades of research by the world's smartest people. And I just happen to have a knack for saying, oh, well, here's how you take 10 years of research around habits and you turn it into one tool you can use in 5 seconds. And so I also think that, for better or for worse, I have had a ton of life experience, just like everybody else, that I'm willing to talk about. Whether that is having a mom and dad that were super, super young when they had me. And so there was a lot of stress for them, and how that kind of impacts you as a kid, absorbing your mom's stress and wanting to make sure she's okay. And then becoming a kid that's constantly like trying to make sure everybody's okay, to being molested in the 4th grade. And in the span of sexual abuse, my experience, honestly, is kind of tame compared to the horror show that a lot of people go through. It was a one-time situation with a kid I never saw again. It was confusing, not terrifying. I disassociated when I woke up with this kid on top of me, and the rest is it. Like, that was it. But my nervous system was impacted for the rest of my life until recently because of it. Whether it was the anxiety that I experienced for almost my entire adult life, whether it was the postpartum depression that I experienced with our first child, whether it's the experience of jumping from job to job to job to job, trying to figure out something that would make me happy, or having the experience that led to the 5-second rule, which is having my husband go for something that he deeply wanted to do, which was to launch his own business with his best friend. And in the beginning, it was really amazing. And then it was horrible. And they worked extremely hard. But due to a ton of things that happened in the business, and entrepreneurial ventures are very, very risky, but that doesn't take away the deeply personal impact it has on you when it fails, is that we found ourselves nearly $1 million in debt. And never on my vision board did I paste a photo of a woman who is pinned to her bed from anxiety and drunk and about to go through bankruptcy and on the verge of losing everything. I think when you find yourself in a moment in your life where everything veers suddenly off course and you go, how the fuck did I get here? Like, this was not what I manifested. This was not on the vision board. I've worked hard. Like, I think I'm a good person. How did I screw up so bad? How did this happen to me? And so I've been there. I know what it's like to have a string of bounce checks and not be able to pay for groceries. I know what it's like to pull your kid out of town soccer because you can't pay for it. I know what it's like to be consumed with jealousy because everybody else seems to have it all together and you are literally sucking wind and licking your wounds in the corner, pretending everything's okay. I have lived it. And so my experience comes from my life and the tools that I have stumbled into, sometimes by dumb luck, sometimes by divine intervention, I'm so passionate about them because they are the things that got me out of the worst moments of my life. They are the tools that helped me get control when life was spiraling out of control. And it's interesting, that you kind of linked up the 5-second rule and the high five habit because there's almost a 5-year span between those two books. So I write the 5-second rule and, that's a whole nother story, but I write the 5-second rule. I self-published the book. One of the chapters in the high five habit tells the story, chapter 12, of how that book launch was a colossal failure and then led to something remarkable happening, which always happens in your life. And for the last 3.5 years, I have been trying to write a new book. And I have written and written and written and written and dictated and dictated and dictated. And I think that the reason why nothing would come that was worthy of your time is because the idea for the high five habit was not ready to be born yet. And that ideas have a life of their own. And all of the resistance, and I'm telling you this because I would bang my head against the table. I actually had a publisher cancel my book contract because it had been a year and I hadn't written anything. And that happened in April of 2020. And then they wanted the money back that I had already spent. And so I have banged my head against the wall and banged my head against the wall. And every single person around me is like, you got to write something with a 5. And I'm like, I'm not writing something with a 5. Like, that's not what this is. And so, the high five habit, I think of everything that I've ever put out into the world. This is the most important and the most profound. And I need to tell you the story of how this came to be. Because I was not writing a book when all this happened. What happened, and this is not a pandemic story, but this all happened in 2020.
Yeah.
And, basically you don't even really need to know the backdrop, but, something interesting happened. We all have a story. We know the moment when pandemic turned your life upside down. When was that moment for you, Julie?
I'm like, gosh, there were a lot of moments. I think for me, honestly, it was, I have a stepdaughter and 2 children. I went downstairs and I love my stepdaughter. She has autism. She was, listening to a video very loud. My kids were fighting. They were supposed to be in school. My husband is like at the kitchen table. And I'm someone who used to working at her home alone. And I was like, I can't do this. I freaking can't do this every day in and day out, all of us there. And it felt a little trapped. And I knew I felt grateful and all of that. But honestly, I felt like this is a fucking nightmare right now. Like, this is overwhelming. I'm an empath. I'm taking everybody's stuff on, and no one's meaning to be difficult, but it was challenging. We did a lot of days, all of us. Yeah.
For me, what happened is it was Wednesday in March of 2020.
Yeah.
And I was at my dream job. I had always dreamt as a little girl, I would come home from school in Western Michigan, and we could get WGN in Chicago on our television station in Western Michigan. And my mom would have Oprah and Donahue on. And I always thought it was the coolest thing in the world to have a job where you got to talk to real people about their lives. And so at the age of 50, I got the opportunity for the first time in my life to actually host a daytime talk show on TV. And it was a dream come true. And we were 167 episodes into taping season 1. And on a Wednesday in March, somebody walked in and said, "We found COVID in the building and we need you to evacuate." Within 5 minutes, they evacuated the CBS broadcast center. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to the 130 people I'd worked with for a year. And I was fired. And as I'm driving home to Boston from New York, where we were taping, and I saw the skyline disappearing in the rearview mirror, I started thinking, are you kidding me? I have literally worked so hard for the last 10 years. I have to reinvent myself again? And then the phone rings, and it's our daughter who's studying abroad in Spain going, are they closing the borders? How am I going to get home? And then the phone rang, and it was our other daughter in LA. Mom, why are we, USC's shutting down? What the fuck, and then they come home, and it was just this implosion of grief. And then the book contract gets canceled and they want the money back. And then every speech starts to cancel. And then I start having these flashbacks to over a decade ago when Chris and I were $1 million in debt and I was losing everything. And for the first 3 weeks, dude, I was in my pajamas all day. I was drinking Bloody Marys by 11. We were doing nothing but watching Glee and Harry Potter, and the wheels were off. And one morning I wake up, and everybody can relate to this. I woke up and I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I felt overwhelmed. I felt beaten up. I felt emotionally exhausted. And so I used the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to drag myself out of bed, because I know that the worst place for me is to lie in bed. And it's important to say this because, I invented the 5-second rule 13 years ago to get out of bed at a time in my life when I was hitting rock bottom. And 13 years later, I still use it to get out of bed, because despite what the experts say about how something becomes a habit after 21 days, it's baloney. If you don't like doing something, you may never like doing it. It may never be a habit. So, I think it's important to say that. And so I drag myself out of bed on this morning, and I make my bed, and then I walk into the bathroom, and I'm standing there and I'm brushing my teeth. And all of a sudden, I catch my reflection in the mirror. And I think, oh my God, you look like hell. And the woman I saw in the mirror looked exhausted and beaten down. And then I started picking apart her reflection, her gray hair, the dark circles under her eyes, the saggy neck, one boob's hanging lower than the other. And then, of course, once your thoughts go to criticism, you're just going to go down the drain. And so next thing you know, I'm thinking about the day. Why did I get up so late? And then how am I going to pull myself together in 8 minutes for this Zoom call? And I forgot to respond to that person's thing. And then the dog's at my feet and he still needs to be walked. And I just felt so overwhelmed by my life. And, what's interesting, Julie, is if you walked into the bathroom in that moment, I would have spun on a dime. I would have been able to be like, Julie, you're right. This blows, man. This is not fair. You do not deserve this. But let me tell you something, Julie. If anybody can handle it, it's you. You got this. Come on, girl. And I would literally send you out of that bathroom ready to attack life.
Yeah.
I could not lift myself up. And in fact, I think even if I had tried, I wouldn't have believed it because I didn't feel it. And I don't know what came over me, but for whatever reason, standing there in my underwear, I mean, I didn't even have a bra on, for crying out loud. I literally raise my hand and high five the woman I see in the mirror because she needed it. And it's not like lightning striked and the heavens open and that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? No. All that happened is I laughed. I laughed because it was so cheesy. And then my shoulders dropped. And then my chin lifted. And I felt something shift in me. I felt this little sense of resilience. And I didn't even give myself a pep talk. I kind of felt like this thing like, okay, suck it up, get out there. Like kind of like, me. So it was the second morning when something really clicked. This is when it really hit me. Because again, I woke up. This is April of 2020. Same overwhelm, same problems, same everything. I'm feeling the same defeated mentality. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I get out of bed. I make the bed. I start walking toward the bathroom. And this is the moment that changed everything. Because I felt something I had never felt before. You know how when you're about to go see a friend in a cafe, somebody you really like, what do you feel right when you're about to walk in?
Yeah, usually I'm like picturing actually my oldest best friend in Boston. I'm like, Meg, I feel like excited. My just lit up inside. Like want to give her a hug, get some good coffee. Yeah, like anticipation, excited. Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt.
Wow.
About seeing the human being, Mel Robbins. I will be 53 this year.
Wow.
I have never in my life looked forward to seeing me, the human being. I've looked forward to seeing an outfit I'm wearing. I've looked forward to seeing what my eyeshadow might look like. I have never had an experience until that moment of looking forward to seeing and being with myself. Now, as I was standing in the bathroom that second morning and I started brushing my teeth, I had this kind of profound realization that there were two of us in there that morning. There was me and there was this woman in the mirror, and she needed me. And I've been ignoring her and beating her down and criticizing her. And that this moment in the mirror is a humongous opportunity to reconnect with her. And so as I put my toothbrush down and, I tell everybody, first of all, you got to do this 5 days in a row. And I'm going to explain why in a minute, but you should also do it right after you brush your teeth. Because, what you know and what you talk about here and what the research shows is that when you stack a new habit with something you already do, it's easier for your brain to memorize it. It stacks it together. So after you clean your teeth, because you want to get that crap out of there and you don't want to start your day with dragon breath, you got to clean out your mind. You got to clean out your attitude. You got to clean out your spirit. And so put the toothbrush down and then take a minute and be with yourself. New research from Harvard shows that if you take less than a minute in the morning as a leader and you think about, how you're going to show up today and how you're going to make an impact with people, it changes your focus and your productivity, and it changes how you show up, which changes how you impact the people that you work with. I want you to take that same research and apply it to yourself. I want you to take this moment and look yourself in the mirror. And I want you to ask yourself, what does the person in the mirror need from me today? How am I going to show up for her today? You see, most of us take this moment on autopilot and we drift and we think ahead to all the things we're going to do for everybody else. You put yourself first the same way you put everybody else there, by putting what you need first thing in the morning. And you might not even know. That's why you got to stand with yourself and look at yourself and be like, what do I need today? And some days it's just, I just need to be kind and patient with myself. Some days it's like, I could actually use some fun today. Some days it's like, I need to finally have that boundary, and I'm going to do it today. I'm going to have that conversation today. That's what they need from me. And so then once you do that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to raise your hand and you're going to seal it with a high five to your reflection. And what's going to happen is I want to explain and unpack what you're going to feel, because we've now researched this for a year. I know the science is like bananas and life-changing. The world's leading experts on habit research and neuroscience are blown away by this. And the research on the power of a high five is also shocking, and it's well documented. And so first, let me tell you what you're going to experience. Number one, expect it to feel weird. And I can explain why it's going to feel weird based on neuroscience. So you should expect it to feel weird because you, by high-fiving yourself, are breaking a very ingrained habit. At the moment, your default and your subconscious programming is to either ignore yourself or criticize yourself. So it's going to be different than the habit that you have in place to high-five yourself. And so just like, I'm a right-hander, and when I write with my right hand, it doesn't feel weird at all because this is a habit. If I were to lose my hand in an accident and have to write with my left hand, it would feel really weird. I would have to push through that weirdness in order to have it start to feel like it's second nature. The same is going to be true with the high five. Now, the second thing I want you to understand, and this is why I want you to do this for 5 days, is because there's only one of two reactions that people have as they stand there and they're about to high five themselves. It's either crazy positive. So you're either going to start to laugh and giggle and kind of move around as you do it, or you could burst into tears. A lot of people burst into tears. And the tears are from this emotional release. The person in the mirror has been trying to get you to love them for a very long time. They have been trying to get you to look up from your phone, to stop thinking about everybody else, and to actually give a shit about them. And so there's this massive release the first time you support, celebrate, and truly empower yourself by doing this, because you also realize in that same moment how much you've missed it, how much you've yearned for it, and how long it's been. But the second feeling that people have is the negative one, and this is more common. And so let's unpack it. And it's a resistance. Yeah. So as you stand there, you're very likely, even if you're a woo-woo positive, I love manifesting kind of person, you're likely to go like, oh, for crying out loud, please. High five. Eye roll kind of thing. That resistance is actually really sad and very deep. Yeah. Here's what it is. Every morning when you stand in front of the bathroom mirror, you drag with you your entire past. If you've experienced trauma, if you've been abused, abandoned, neglected, if you've been hurt, heartbroken, anything, you see that as evidence that you're not worthy, that you're unlovable, that you're damaged. And the resistance is the fact that that's your opinion of yourself based on what's happened to you and what you've survived. That's why you resist celebrating the person you see. The other reason why you may resist it is because if you're a human being, you've done a lot of stuff that you regret, whether it's cheating or addiction or stealing or lying or blowing up relationships or missing opportunity, whatever it is that you beat yourself up for, that, by the way, you would forgive me or Julie for, but you can't forgive yourself for, even though you were just trying to survive. You didn't know any better. You stand in the mirror and you judge yourself and you hang that yoke of shame around your neck. And that resistance is your unwillingness to forgive yourself or see your humanity. And the other reason why you resist this is because you've bought into this lie that in order to be worthy of celebration, support, or love, you must first do something to earn it. So if you are not where you want to be in life, if the number on the scale isn't what it should be, if the money in the bank isn't what it should be, if you aren't in the relationship, you don't have the kids, you're not in the right house, you don't have the right skin color, your hair is too kinky, like whatever it is that you're holding over yourself, outside of yourself, as when that happens, then I'm worthy, that's also the resistance. And I'm on a mission. This is so foundational. I'm on a mission to get every human being to understand, because of what you survived, because of everything that's happened or that you've done, if you can drag yourself out of bed and stand in front of that mirror and show up every day and try to do just a little bit better, you deserve a high five for your mere existence here. Mm-hmm. And you need it. You need it.
Take a breath. That is powerful shit, Mel. That is something you said. I want to go back to, because I think this might even go into one of the questions I had for you. You said you just did this. You weren't sure what to write. This came organically, which is part of what I love about you and this experience. But something you said that was very different than oftentimes when you can look in the mirror, I love you, great, blah, blah, blah. You said you did this and you felt something shifted. And that, to me, the feeling something shifted, that is very different, I think, than a lot of these things that we're taught and told, oh, you can try this because you stay here in your head versus
right.
You. And I could feel it. I'm like, something literally profound. It feels to me like you had an actual, like, full body awakening, awareness, realization. It was so profound, and that's what we can all have. And
yeah, you can. And wait till you hear the science that explains the shift.
Yeah, let's do it.
Crazy.
I have chills.
So there's 3 levels to this in terms of the science on what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
So in your brain and your nervous system, and I think your soul. But I'm going to explain to you step by step something super exciting and encouraging about all of this. Your body and your nervous system and your brain are already programmed to have this work. So the shift that you feel is your brain and your nervous system and your body falling into true alignment with how you're supposed to treat yourself. And you don't have to say a thing. This is the beauty of it. You see, my husband, for example, when the restaurants failed, his business partner was able to look at that 7-year stretch and say, boy, we worked our tail off and I'm proud of what we did, even though we didn't deliver the return on the investment that we had wanted to. My husband, for whatever reason, could not tell himself that. He believed that since the restaurant venture failed, he was a failure.
Yeah. And
for years, he would drag himself into that bathroom and see nothing but evidence for why he had failed. And him trying to pump himself up, it would not work.
Right.
And here's why. If he were to look in the mirror and be like, you're awesome, his brain would be like, who are you talking about? Can't be talking about you. Because for 6 years, you've been telling yourself you're a failure. I don't believe the awesome thing.
Yeah.
Your brain will reject it if the mantra is the opposite of what you believe to be true about yourself. Just like our daughter, who I write about, she texts me this heartbreaking thing in the middle of writing this book. This whole book came together literally in like 6 months. It's story after story after story of all the things that were happening, all proving what I'm proving to you in this book. She texts me, how do I not feel like the ugliest girl at the bar every time I go out? First of all, there's nothing I can do as her mom, because believe me, I've tried to change her opinion about herself. And do you think if you've told yourself you're the ugliest of all your friends or the biggest of all your friends for years, do you think any positive mantra, I love my body, is going to work? No. So here's why the high five works. This is amazing. You can stand in front of the mirror and hate your body. You can stand in front of the mirror and be a failure. And something interesting happens when you raise your hand and high five yourself. So let's talk about a high five, because for our entire lives, we've been high fiving everybody else. So Julie, when you go to high five one of your 3 kids or somebody else in your life, what does the gesture of a high five actually communicate to somebody?
It's kind of a celebrating, acknowledging, and championing the person. And it's so interesting. I'm like, my brain just went, oh my God, you're right. I've never high-fived myself. Never.
Yeah. Never.
No.
Yeah. And so when you do it for somebody else, it communicates, it's always positive.
Yeah.
And it communicates, I believe in you. We got this. I see you. I love you. Come on now. Shake it off. Get going. Keep going.
Yeah.
I believe. I love you. That's what it communicates.
Yeah.
And so here's the most killer part of the whole thing. All of that positive mantra programming. I believe in you. I love you. You got this. You're awesome. It's already encoded in your subconscious, and it's married to a high five. So when you raise your hand to your own reflection and you try to think, I'm a fucking failure, or I hate myself, your brain will not allow you to think it. It's impossible, because the second that you raise your hand and start to do this, your brain recognizes the high five, it kicks in your subconscious, and all the positive programming actually gets married with your own reflection. So for my husband, when he does it, it's an act of defiance against failure. And the high five says, I see you. I know you're struggling, and I still love you. Now get out there. For my daughter, it says, I see you. I know that this is hard, and I still believe in you, and you're awesome, and you deserve to be happy and healthy. Now get out there and go play the game of life. That's why it works. That's one reason. The reason why you feel something shift was explained to me by Dr. Daniel Amen. So Dr. Daniel Amen, as you know, is one of the world's leading experts on the brain. He's got clinics on the brain. He's the guy about the brain. And when I first told him about this, he went bananas. He's like, do you know why this works? Do you know, oh my God, Mel, do you know why? And I'm like, no, tell me why it works. So he said he verified the thing about the subconscious, because there's a whole field of neuroscience called neurobics, which is about a physical movement and a physical intervention, aerobic activity with a change in thought. It is the fastest way to build a new neural pathway, to marry an unexpected physical movement with a new change in thought. And so the unexpected physical movement is the raising of the hand and high-fiving yourself, because to what you just said is, I've never done it to myself. And all of the programming, the new thought that is the opposite of what you say to yourself now, is already in your subconscious. So that's the field of science that explains why it works. The second thing that he said is the reason why you feel a little boost, a little shift, a little something, like a little lightning, is because every time somebody else has ever given you a high five, your brain drips dopamine, the feel-good drug.
Oh, yeah.
When you do it to yourself, you get a dopamine drip, which is why it boosts your mood.
Damn.
I'm not even done yet.
Okay,
so the reason why you keep doing this, if you do this more than 5 days, you get through the weirdness, you get through the resistance, you start like feeling the boost. You start feeling like this is kind of fun. You kind of laugh at yourself. You do it. You like think about the game you want to play today in life. Like it's fun. It's a fun way to send yourself into the day. You also feel a little bit energized. Weird. What is that about? Well, it's your nervous system. So what Dr. Daniel Amen explained to me is that your nervous system is encoded for celebratory action. So when you go to wave hello to somebody and you raise your arm to wave hello, that's celebration. When you go to raise your arms to hug somebody, that's celebration. When you go to raise your arms when you finish a race and cross the finish line, that's celebration. When you raise your hand to high five somebody, it's celebration. Your nervous system remembers it as celebration. The more you do it and start celebrating yourself, the more your nervous system gives you that jolt of energy. That's why it's working. Is this not crazy?
This is crazy. I am still, what I love is how this just came through you. You had no idea. I don't think you knew all this
This is
science from this.
divine. This is like
It is
literally,
divine.
it is,
Thank you.
there's no question. This is why, for me, this is really not about a book. It's
Yeah.
really about
Yeah.
something that is
Yeah.
needed at
Yeah.
this moment in time to help people,
Yeah.
to reawaken a connection that you need to yourself so that you can have your own back and support and celebrate yourself through the ups and downs in life. Everybody needs to know the science. They need to know why this is important, and they need to start practicing it.
This, to me, what's so brilliant, you said this early on, that one of your gifts, your genius, is taking complicated information, even the way it was divinely coming through you, as just this simple, really, I'm even thinking like somatic, like you probably didn't realize, you raise your hands. It's all making sense
idea.
as you're, it's
Do you want to know
amazing.
something? I wrote the whole book, and then I only talked to Dr. Daniel Amen 3 weeks ago. I don't even have that research in the book.
Wow.
Like, I've got incredible research in the book, and the research about the subconscious, and the research about the power of a high five, and the MBA, and building trust, and foundational needs, and all of it, which is plenty. But a conversation 3 weeks ago took it to a whole nother level to explain that sort of, why is something shifting in me? Why does this feel good? Like, because it is cheesy when you describe it.
Right. Right. Well, first of all, I'm like, you better be sure I'm doing this tomorrow. I'm going to take a picture and send it to you, Mel. And be like, this is me. You know what I love about this is it's beyond words. Frankly, it's beyond, sometimes, we can say things and then you get the dance in your mind. Like, no, this cuts over that. And the science shows that. It's freaking brilliant. And I love the divine channel that you are. I mean, you're really living up to your 1 in 400 trillion, like you're in it. And this is powerful. I can see why this needs to be a movement. I mean, I had a sense of this, but I didn't know the science. And listening to you, it's like, I'm just going to invite everybody. You guys don't even have there's no excuse. We're all doing this.
Now, let me tell you the coolest part. You ready?
Yeah, bring it on. It's already been pretty cool. Yes.
So, well, first of all, the high five in the mirror is just the beginning, because then I start to reveal all these other tools like high-fiving your heart, which will help you with your nervous system, and tools around developing a high five attitude, which is an attitude grounded in optimism and resilience, and all kinds of stuff that you can do to really anchor down in faith, to take advantage of the science of manifesting, because unless you believe it's possible, the manifesting is not going to work. And so there's stories about that in the book. So it's this whole philosophy about having your own back, about believing that there's something divine that is truly meant for you. And when you start to begin every day by seeing yourself and supporting yourself and hearing yourself through the ups and downs in life, your life will high five you back. It will draw you toward what's meant for you, because you're finally showing up for yourself and you're ready for what's meant for you. And the thing that's crazy cool is I've been doing this now for over a year. And the truth is, I don't have to high five myself anymore. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Having repeated this every morning for more than a year, it has not only silenced that critic that used to live in my head, it has evicted it, and it has replaced it with all of the programming associated with a high five. I don't even see my body anymore. I literally see like my soul. I see a human being, and it doesn't make you arrogant. It kind of makes you humble, because it makes you see somebody who's trying, who's showing up every day, who just wants to be seen and encouraged and loved. And I think that's what we all do. And so it's given me this profound sense of compassion and love and freedom and connection to the one person that I spend my whole life with, and that's me.
I'm like, shit, I need tissues. I'm about to cry just listening to you. I'm like, it's so beautiful because I can feel you, like the war has ended in you is what it
That's
feels
exactly
like.
right.
Yeah.
That's
You
exactly
put down the
right.
sword. You put down the sword. That is really, I'm having a little bit of a flushed, real, honestly, like something's going on over here because I feel you. And this is profound. I can see why this is for all of us, for humanity, because to see who you really are. And I'll tell you, Melvin, I'm not just saying this, this might sound strange, but your energy, you're like, you look younger, brighter, and lighter than in any time I've seen you. I mean, you've always looked, I mean, you're beautiful inside, outside, but I mean, like your energy, like I can feel what you're saying.
You know, you're the third person. Lewis Howes said that to me when he saw me, and he and I have been very, very good friends for years. And he looked at me and he said, Mel, you look a decade younger. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
And I really, nobody has said it how you just said it. I've put the sword down. I am not at war with myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big realization that I've had over the last 5 years, actually speaking around the world as much as I have, in book line after book line after book line, bumping into people on planes, talking to people in hotel hallways. Because for me, my career has been a real gift, but as much as it's fun to be on a stage, and
Mm,
it's definitely something that I'm really good at and I enjoy and I make an impact doing. I
yeah.
always tell everybody it's what happens before and after that I love the most. It's bumping into real people and hearing their stories. And what I have been present to is just how much pain people are in.
Yeah.
And what I've only come to realize recently is what you just so eloquently said.
Mm.
It's the war that they have with themselves. And you're right. I'm not fighting anymore.
You're wearing the truce, the white flag is it,
Yeah.
it honestly, you were wearing it. And I just think, I'm like, oh gosh, I get to start tomorrow. I want to see myself in a year of, let's do this
Right?
in a year. I'm like, I want to see myself 10 years younger. It is this, I'm just going to ask everybody, like, close your eyes and take this in for a minute. This is so profound. There's science to back it up. There's research to back it up. It makes sense on a very visceral level too, Mel, like yeah, when do we stop to like, I get it with your husband. Like there have been times, especially us high achievers, we had a lot of them listening. It's like, well, not looking at what's going well, I didn't make this goal, and you feel shitty. And this is like changing the whole thing. It's the stopping the war. And I got to tell you, this is how I really believe this is why you're doing this work, why the divine went through you. This is how we stop our warring, obviously, is within ourselves. And you're doing that and you're sharing
Well,
that.
and the other thing is that, bringing up my husband and my daughter, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody that you love who is
Yeah.
tearing themselves apart.
Yeah.
And knowing that you actually can't do anything. And in some ways, when you try to lift somebody up who's really down, it pushes them away because you're invalidating their reality. So they start
Yeah.
to feel like you don't understand what it's like to be them, because the truth is you don't. And so one of the things that I am the most excited about is that, just like the 5-second rule was this little tool that anybody could use in a moment when they were alone and they needed to motivate themselves. Nobody else is there. No one's coming. It's just you and your fear and your procrastination. You've got this simple little thing to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push yourself. I believe that the high five habit is an even bigger and more profound tool, because in that moment, every single day, where the war is with self-hatred and with self-rejection, you now have a tool to fight back.
Mm. That is a drop the effing mic. Like, I got nothing. My brain just went like, nope, there's nothing else to say to that. That is, oh my gosh, this, I will say, because I said we're gonna add a little woo in here. You are, you can feel this was divinely channeled through you. And I'm like holding back. I'm not kidding. This doesn't usually happen. I feel like I want to burst into tears because I feel you. I know you're an experiential learner, and I'm grateful for who you are and for your stepping into just the badassery and this, what you've discovered. I'm in love with this. I'm in love with this. And it is simple. Like you've said, I know, and it is easy in this case. This really is simple and easy. This is simple and easy.
It is.
And it's life-changing. Wow.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I also want to thank you because Julie has partnered with me on bringing you something that is super cool. And that is that we have created a 5-day challenge that's free. It's called the High Five Challenge. And I wanted to do something beyond just the book. I wanted to give you an experience where you could not only experience doing the high five in the mirror, setting an intention, starting your day that way every day for yourself, but I wanted to give you the coaching and the tools in a community that would also lift you up and cheer you on. And so I've partnered with this app, Growth Day, which is the world's leading personal development app. You can think about it like a Peloton for life improvement. And you get free access. I mean, this thing's $300 a year. You get it for free for the 5-day challenge. You can use all the tools, and every day there's a new training and teaching from me. There's hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be taking it with you and celebrating you and cheering for you. And you're going to see them uploading photos, and it's going to be incredible. And, all you have to do is follow the link in the show notes and you're in. And it doesn't matter if you're listening to this 10 years from now. The challenge will be open. It'll be there to support you, and it'll give you the energy, the structure, the accountability, and the support that you need to truly change the way you see yourself. And when you do that, it changes your whole life.
Amazing, Mel. You are just, this is it. This is what we need to spread as a pandemic. I'm going to just say it. This is what we need to spread, is this high five. It is people doing it every day.
Yeah. Like I feel in my bones what you're saying about the divine channeling, and that this is what is needed right now.
Oh yeah. And it's just, it doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter. This is why it's so brilliant. It doesn't matter where you are on the planet. Oh, may this be blessed. I'm just honored to be part of this. I believe in this and you. I already can feel it. I can feel the impact. I haven't even done it. My little mirror neurons are like, yes, we're going to do this. I'm kind of doing it now, practicing, but I'm going to do it by myself in the mirror.
But see, this is the thing, is that like, I think that when you get it, you can start to then even bring the high five energy to yourself in a meeting. Like when you feel yourself going down, you can literally kind of mentally give yourself a high five and pick yourself back up, because you're really training a whole new way of supporting yourself.
Yeah. Amazing. I just truly, from the bottom of my heart, with all of my fives, my high fives. I guess I have 10 if you put, or I got my feet. I'm like, should I put my feet up?
It's so funny because I literally was hell-bent on not writing a book with a 5 in it. And again, divine intervention. They're like, sorry. No.
Yeah, you're the 5. It's the way it goes.
Yep.
There's actually, well, for another day, there's a deep spiritual meaning to the number 5.
What is it?
Well, it is. So I'm all right, friends. Now the dash of woo, it's coming in.
Here we go. Yeah. Now you're getting the outtake notes too, everybody. This is a special show.
Girl. Well, 5, first of all, if you're into numerology and into anything with spirit guides and the Archangel Michael, which is all about protection and guidance and self-love, is connected to number 5. And regardless of religion or not, or where are you coming from, I think of this energy as just a protective force. And that energy associated with Archangel Michael is number 5. And so everything I do has a lot of 5s, just FYI.
Wow. That's super cool. See, we're aligned.